Peace and love, family. This is S. Marsharell, aka Smell. Welcome to Talk Bills. Today, I want to talk about a subject that's I think is greatly needed, and it's regarding the so-called anti-hate crime, anti-Asian hate crime act. Right? That is a misnomer. Um, Actually, the bill is not called that at all. The bill is right before your face, where you can see this for yourself. Um, this is Public Law 117. It has here 13th of May 20th, 2021, 135, stat 265. Is actually this little writing right here, one of the smallest writings on this act. It says, an act to facilitate the expedient review of COVID-19 hate crimes and for other purposes. When you skip down here, it tells you the short title for this act is the act may be cited as the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. That's it, family. This act may be cited as, meaning when you reference this act for scholars, when you reference this act for journalists, when you reference this act for the Moors who, say they know the law, when you reference this act may be cited. May be cited. I mean, you can call it whatever, but the government says cite this act as the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. That is not saying it is the anti-Asian hate crime bill or act, or like there is some act just specifically dedicated to this so-called race. I am Asian. Excuse me. I'm Asiatic, right? And so, this, even if it was just an Asian crime bill, due to my descent being the original man of the universe and my descent connecting with the Moors, anything Asian would be rightfully mine as well, and to the so-called black family, uh, if they knew who they would have a right to those benefits as well. But sadly to say, family, this is not what that is. And so I'm just going to kind of go through this a little bit, and we're going to look at what really is this bill about? What's going on here? As you go through the bill, like I said, if you go through this bill or look it up as the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, you can find a PDF version of this and to review it for yourself. It's something important to note before we begin is about public law. Public law is law that deals with pretty much codes and administrative codes and what agencies and officials are to do and how they are to act and conduct themselves. And it could deal with how to administrate a certain function of a government. A public law can also stem what they call substantive law, if I'm saying that correct, where these are laws or like statutes that are legislative, like the legislative body, um, they enact. They come up with a law and a so-called law. It's a type of law that falls under what they call like societal law or societal securities. And so when you're dealing with these type of law, it is this court system is a little tricky, and law can be a little tricky. When you're dealing with those type of laws, right? You're dealing basically with codes and administrations and policies and who should do what. Normally, when you have a violation of these particular type of laws, you're going to be dealing with what you call civil court remedies. And civil court remedies are a situation where people actually break codes, and in a sense, these public type laws are kind of like contracts, um, or orders given to bodies of government and how they should perform or do a particular job. And so when a body or a government or official don't do exactly maybe how these acts go, or one government don't unit, body, or agency of development don't do what they're supposed to do, people may file lawsuits for damages based on these laws, so-called laws, or these type of laws, should I say, and conduct. So when you're dealing with civil court, you're not talking about case law, where case law is what they would call judge-made laws, where the argument is coming about in the interpretation of a precedent um, of cases that deals with rights, right? The rights of a person, constitutional rights of a person, um, the natural law rights of a person, human rights of a person. And that's a different type, those are different types of laws because it is dealing with the actual rights of a person to be who they are. And so a lot of times when you're using those type of laws, it has a history of interpretation that it must string to. It must have a stream of connections of judges having made rulings on these matters years and centuries before our time, and is being used for whatever reason you may need to protect a person's rights or law. When you see these type public law, that's not what this is. This is dealing with specific codes, not the history of how judges may have ruled on something, not how your constitutional rights, or this or that. Now, it can become an issue if the public law violates a constitutional rights, meaning your rights, which is, that's a whole nother thing. But not to get so into that, I just want to put that in there because a lot of times, a lot of folks really don't understand it, and be truthful. I'm just kind of been opening up or understanding the difference myself. And I work in the field of criminal justice. I've worked in the field for many, many years and still work in the field as an investigator, a researcher, um, on many levels. And so, with that being said, there's so much still to be learned, especially in our community, as it relates to the type of laws that you're dealing with on a day-to-day, everyday business situation, personal situation, so forth, and learning how to navigate through these things. So that was a whole lot right there, right? But let's look at this law. How would you look even at a bill? You want to look at the sections of a bill, right? Like here it says section 1, short title. Then you got here section 2, the findings. Now here in this bill, this COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, it goes into the findings. Now the findings begin to talk about the Asian Americans, and they got the Pacific Islanders in here as well, about the tragedy, recent tragedies of the Asian Americans being assaulted, um, apparently just for their race. And it kind of goes in this point, and it kind of names, as some of you may know, um, around the Atlanta, Georgia area, there was what's that, 2020, I believe. There was an incident where there was a shooting, and many lost their lives. Our condolences go out to those families who lost their loved ones in incidents like that. Forgive, my phone is going off when I want to record here, but forgive me for that. But so the findings is going into about about the hate crimes that were committed against Asian Americans. So that's section 2. You scroll down, you got section 3, review of hate crimes. So it's giving again policy and procedure of how in general how hate crimes should be handled. It says here like section 3, letter A, in general, not later than 7 days after the date of enactment of this act, the Attorney General shall designate an officer or an employee of the Department of Justice whose responsibility during the applicable period shall be to facilitate the expedient review of hate crimes. And it got the title. So here again, you see the language of giving instructions of who is to do what, right? So again, public law. Section 4, you got the guidance for law enforcement agencies. So, here, like section 1, I got to highlight here, to establish online reporting of hate crimes or incidents. So this should be good information to know. Do your local law enforcement agency have an online process for you to report hate crimes? A lot of times, our people are experiencing hate crimes, whatever level, minor or small. Do you know that you should be able to go online and report hate crimes to your local law enforcement? Do you know that possibly your law enforcement could be sued for not having that ability? Or you could actually possibly sue the Attorney General's office for not doing what they're supposed to do to follow up on this according to this act, right? To establish these tools that people can report hate crimes. So that's section 4. That's guidance. Section 5, this is a little tricky. In section 5, they actually make an act within an act. Now, how you do that? How do you? That is some wizardry stuff here. Here you got the Jabari No Hate Act in section 5. It says this is a bunch of BS in a way, but condolence to the family though. Here it is. It says short title. This section may be cited as the Khalid, Jabari, and Heather Heyer National Opposition to Hate, Assault, and Threats to Equality Act of 2021, or the Jabari Heyer No Hate Act. What is in this act? What is in this act? Does this act have any teeth? Does this act have any powers? Does this act create any structural um, processes where people can find remedy when they have been a victim of a hate crime? Let's see, right? Let's just go dig in. It says here findings. Here's the findings. Why they came about putting this section in here. I thought something to point out here was this highlighted area I got here: the Hate Crime Statistics Act and the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act, which that's already an act which I really didn't know until looking into this. So they're using another act. I think James Byrd, that stands out to me, James Byrd Jr., I think that case was an incident where the brother was actually drugged by a pickup Chevy, a truck, and drugged to death, or lynched, or a lynching in an odd way. Excuse me. So this is like, what? You put an act within the act, and if somebody want to, say, well, they hadn't made, the so-called blacks, they hadn't given us an act. Well, there it is right there, your James Byrd Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act. There's your act right there. They just, again, the media did not refer it to as the Anti-Black Hate Crimes Act. As they did this one, the media purposely propagated and put Anti-Asian Hate Crimes Act, which that was misreporting and misapplication, and I'm sure for political reasons is why they did that, to gain those votes or gain that support from the Asian community. Let's look down a little bit further. What's in this sub act here? You go into findings, and the next thing you have is definitions. All right, we got definitions of hate crime, which that's something you guys may want to go back and look. Hate crime, the term hate crime means an act described in section 245, 247, or 249 of Title 18. Title 18 of United States Code is certainly a code that you want to check out. It talks about priority agencies. You'll be surprised to learn that certain law enforcement agencies, right, are called priority agencies over other law enforcement agencies, and it goes by the amount of public that they serve. And here it's saying here, a law enforcement agency of a unit of local government that serves a population of not less than 100,000. It's considered a priority agency. But let's keep moving. What's in this act that they named after this brother? Act within the act, right? They got unit of local government, number 5. So let me back up now. When you read these bills, you'll see the sections, right? And then under sections, you'll see it's layered out like A, B, and then you got a number system under B, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And then you have the letter C in parentheses. You want to pay attention to those letterings on the outside, because these letterings are marking the different sections. So I'm sorry, I said that wrong. So no, you got findings. So C would be under section 5. I'm corrected. All right, because you got A, B, and then C right here will be the definitions under this Jabari Hate Crime Act. We keep going. We got the subsections, right? And E, what do we find? We find a bag. We find a money bag. I said this on my social media. If you want to follow me on Instagram, go to More Marshall L on any of Twitter or Instagram, and you'll find me. And here, and I said this, there's a bag. That's what we got under the Jabari higher. What is it? Let's get it right. I might be messing that name up, but Jabari No Hate Act. What we got grant programs. That's what we got. We got grant programs. We're giving out grant programs. We're gonna make this. We're gonna give this money out to our supporters, our friends. Thank y'all for supporting the Biden Harris club, and so we got y'all. So what we got in this bag? It says here grant for state-run hate crime hotlines. Wow. And it goes to, we're not going to read it all the way through, but it goes through basically, again, public law, how that's going to be set up. What some of the responsibilities, who's going to do one. Here we got, so E, then we come on down, we got F. And you have to be careful because they're so kind of sometimes the main letter is in small print. When you be seeing the big letters, these are subsections under the small letters. So it can get a little tricky, family. It get a little tricky. Let's see what F. Then F says information collections by state and units of local government. So not only going to get it back for running programs and hotlines, but we're going to also use this as well to do research, which kind of flows into the whole COVID-19 pandemic. Now, because it's related. So the hate crimes and how the COVID-19 pandemic is affecting hate crimes, right? So as you can see, as a researcher and as a person who love the art of research, if you love the art of research, you have to know the scientific method. Okay, the scientific method involves science. When you are trying to figure out something, you do an experiment. And that experiment has to be done through collecting information, observing, and so here it is right here, family. As part of the COVID-19 within this so-called anti-Asian hate crime bill, you find a way to collect information from states and units of local government. Let's look here. Here's the definition. Here's grants. In general, the Attorney General may make grants to eligible entities to assist cover agencies within the jurisdiction of eligible entity in conducting law enforcement activities or crime reduction programs to prevent, address, or otherwise respond to hate crimes, particularly to those activities or programs relate to reporting hate crimes through the Uniform Crimes Report program. So, I mean, that sounds good, right? Conducting public meetings. Here's some sub grants. A state that receives a grant under the sub grant may award the sub grant to a unit or a local government within the state. Family, where are we at the table? We so big. We so busy pouting about they ain't make no anti-black hate crime bill that you missing out on the bag. Those who are into this and those who following all of this, you so in, you white way we missing the boat big time. Like we ain't on the dock. We still somewhere way inward, not knowing what's going on. So you got the sub grants here going on. Let's see. In general, let's keep going. Compliance and redirection of funds. Let's see. We're still under grants, and we're still under this act within the act. Let's read here. Information collections. Excuse me. Information collection and analysts report. In order to improve the accuracy of data regarding the incidents of hate crime provided through the Uniform Crime Reports Program and promote a more complete understanding of the national problem posed by hate crime, the Attorney General shall collect and analyze the information provided by states and units of local government under subsection F. We kind of looked at that. For the purpose of developing policies related to the provision of accurate data obtained under the Hate Crime Statistics Act. Notice the word here, policies. See, policies. So again, public law. Know what you're doing. Know what you're dealing with, and more so, know how to use public law in the event that you need to do a civil suit, or in the event that you need to even just protect a right that some policy or procedure that someone's trying, your job or somebody or some business is trying to force you to do, that's out of line with what the government has administered or put in place, how that agency should be running the program. Or and again, like if it violates a constitutional right that you have, which sometimes that happens, and these policies are thrown out or found to be unconstitutional. Contents of the report. A report submitted under this paragraph shall include, here it is, that's a scientific word, family, qualitative analysis of the relationships between the number of hate crimes reported by the state law enforcement agencies or law enforcement agencies that receive funding from a grant or sub-grant awarded under paragraph 2 through the Uniform Crime Program. Qualitative analysis. Family, that's like qualitative analysis, if I remember correctly, it's like a quanza of self-reporting and using data at the same time. So they may have a questionnaire where they're collecting information along with maybe some data that they may be using, for a qualitative analysis. And here we go right here, number B, letter B subsection, it says quantitative analysis of a number of state law enforcement agencies. Quantitative, if I'm correct, deals with more of strictly data. Strictly data, right? Data from your observances, from uh, phenomena that's um, influence and phenomena that's not influence. So I would say that, which is not being said, that because this bill has a COVID-19 overtone and purpose, that even these type of research that's going on is as well to see how does the COVID-19 pandemic affect crime. Do it go up? Do it go down? Are we seeing a different type of trend of type of crime? Um, are we seeing a different type of behavior in people that's producing higher rates of crime, or a particular, again, like a type of violent offense or non-violent offenses? How is this pandemic, how is COVID-19 really, let's break it down, how is COVID-19 affecting the behavior of the people? It's kind of a little spooky, isn't it? Yeah, I hope that got your your brain up there, your workshop, turning and thinking. Let's look at. I thought this part right here was a little way off place, but it's in here. It's letter H. It said alternative sentencing. Then it goes section 249 of Title 18 United States Code is amended by adding at the end the following. E. Supervised release. If a court includes, as a part of a sentence of imprisonment imposed for a violation of subsection A, a requirement that the defendant be placed on a term of supervised release after imprisonment under section 3583, the court may order, as an explicit condition of supervised release, that the defendant undertake educational classes or community service directly related to the community harmed by the defendant's offense. Right? So this right here, being have worked in the field of criminal justice, right here, that's a bag. That is a program for somebody where you have a program that not only whoever else they serving, but folks that that's convicted of or dealing with hate crimes or something of that sort, they gotta go see Johnny Walker at the hate crime prevention hotline and programs once they get released and be placed on probation and go through their educational community program. So yeah, family, this is your so-called anti-Asian hate crime bill or act. As you can see, it's really nothing in here at all. Nothing in here at all but some instructions on the Attorney General, basically how they can do research and so a bag to do the research. You know, so there you have it. If you have any comments, I would love to hear your comments in the comment section. Go check the information out for yourself. Anything I said in here that was in error, put in the comments. Definitely correct me. I don't call myself to know everything at all. As you see, I'm showing you what I'm reading and my interpretation into it. Certainly would love to hear your side of things. By the way, as well, check me out, Smell on Spotify, Apple Music. I have a music project that's out now called LA Knickers. If you into certainly conscientious information and race relations, learning more about history and that as it relates to that particular album, I think you would enjoy. So that's Smell, SMEL. Check that out. I think you would enjoy it. Thank you for your time. I see y'all in the wind. Peace. Peace and love.